Hello, friends. My name is Brother Dave, and today I'd like to give a talk on what is mindfulness. We talk about this word. I probably say this word 50 times a day. The people around me are probably sick of me saying the word mindfulness, but I use it a lot, and it's become a part of our popular culture. So let's break it down. What is it really? There are a lot of good definitions out there. I traffic in a few, but my personal one is very, very simple. Mindfulness is paying attention with love. Mindfulness is paying attention, but with loving interest. And what I mean by that is that if I'm paying clinical attention, scientific attention, this is not mindfulness. If I'm paying very goal-oriented, success-driven attention, this is not mindfulness. If I'm paying harsh, critical, judging attention, this is also not mindfulness. But if I'm paying attention with openness, with curiosity, with a lightness, a playfulness, if my attention is first accepting before it is judging, if first I am recognizing before I try to fix and change, if my attention has in it the desire to understand, these are all elements of love. If my attention is loving, if it comes from a place of heart and goodwill, then I am practicing mindfulness. Perhaps one of my favorite things I've ever heard my teacher, the Zen master Thich Nhat say, is understanding is love. He's very clear about this. Understanding and love are synonyms. Two words that mean exactly the same thing. He goes on to explain to us that if there is understanding present, if I understand you, then my love for you naturally arises. And therefore, if my desire is to love you, is to make you feel loved, then I have to work to diligently understand you. This becomes very difficult to do if I'm attached to my view of you. What is more dynamic, more changing, more in flux than the life of a human being? Everyone we know, including ourselves, is constantly changing. If I try to put the people that I love, including myself, into a very small box so that they won't change, so that I can feel safe, so that I can experience over and over again the familiarity that I've grown so attached to, well, then very quickly I will be taking actions that are quite unskillful, that will feel quite painful to the other person or to myself, that are not loving. So in order to really love other people, in order to really love myself, I have to be constantly letting go of that very natural desire for things to stay the same, to even have repetition. I have to be over and over again doing the work of accepting new circumstances, unexpected behaviors, changes in patterns, because everything is impermanent. Everything is constantly changing. If I do the work in my mindfulness practice, first when it's easy, like paying attention with love to the act of doing the dishes, Paying attention with love to the act of walking across a nice soft carpet in bare feet. When the stakes are low and the circumstances are conducive to an open and accepting attitude of attention and therefore love. If I put in that training in positive or even neutral circumstances, then I have a chance. Right? Then I've developed some of the power necessary to be loving in less than ideal circumstances. To be loving when it hurts. To be loving when I'm afraid. To seek to understand even when I feel vulnerable, even when I am under attack. Not easy. And that's why we call it practice or mindfulness training. It's a muscle. And I'm flexing it over and over and over again, trying to make it strong. That strength provides me two gifts, or bears two fruits. The first one is it gives me more freedom. When the stimuli comes in, if I meet it with an attitude of love and acceptance, with a desire to understand it, before I try to wrestle it down and force it to be the thing I am familiar with, force them to be the person they were, force me to be some person I think I should be. If I've trained myself to avoid those traps and pitfalls, then the moment comes in and boom, I have a lot of space there. I have a lot more choices when I'm open to a lot more outcomes. And that feeling of choice, that power of choice, means that I make a more honest contact. How much can I really taste the vanilla ice cream if the whole time I'm wishing it was a bowl of potato chips? It seems like a silly example, but we're doing this all the time. We're wishing day was night. We're wishing right was wrong. And so we're missing our appointment with our actual lives. We're experiencing reality, our life, through this veil of judgment. Sometimes I think about the moment coming at me like a stream. It's complete. It has all the warp and woof, the pros and cons, the rights and wrongs, the happies and sads. It has it all. And I feel like my job is to let it land. Just like I wouldn't fight a wave if I were about to be overtaken by one in the ocean. It would be pointless and even dangerous. But I see myself fighting reality on land, almost like a samurai with a sword in my hand. And I can see myself like slicing through it, cutting it up into pieces of like, don't like, don't know, don't care. I'm carving it up into these piles because I believe mistakenly that will help me to understand it. And initially, perhaps that does make me less afraid. But it's not honest contact. I can't be carving up, managing, and micromanaging the moment and really say I'm living. Being a real human being. Which is a question, it's a good question to ask yourself. What is a real human being? Insert your own name. What does Dave look like when he's being a real human being? What does Dave feel like when he's being a real human being? And one of the ways that I answer that question, which I like to ask myself often, is when I'm being a real human being, I'm just letting the moment come. Not that ultimately I won't aspire to some transformation or some cumulative benefit. I'm not completely goalless yet. But I know that if I want anything, especially if it's something to be different, the fastest way there is by starting with acceptance, bare recognition, curiosity, good intention, love. Paying attention with love. That's what mindfulness is. So I invite you, till the next time that we get to sit together like this, to find a way, find some area of your life that you can shine the light of mindfulness onto. Ideally one that you haven't already. We all have them, our blind spots, our unopened junk drawers. Find it. Is it your body? Are you being very mindful in your communications and in the way you use your media? But you don't take a good, strong walk every day? You don't break a good sweat? Or is it your relations? Are you taking really good care of your body and spending time sitting on your cushion? But when your mom calls, you still let yourself get really angry and sit in old hurts. Speak from the place of old pains and judgments. You see what I mean? Find that place that mindfulness has not yet colonized inside you. And I'm not saying you have to change everything overnight, but just put a little bit more energy there. In the coming days, shine a little bit more of the light of mindfulness there. And as we've been discussing, feel the new power. Take confidence from the fruit that that practice will bear. Flex around inside of, expand into the space of the freedom that a little bit of extra mindfulness in that area of your life will create. Thanks for being here with me and watching this video. And please put some comments below and let me know if it helped or if it didn't, or what you'd like to hear next week. I can feel that you are there for me in your presence and in your practice. I am there for you as well. I am right here. We got this.